name is Anthony DeVito from New Jersey. So, yeah, not only do I look suspicious, but I sound like what you would do to make up an Italian.
I know a lot of you are saying, why would famed comedian Greg Stone get in the action figure review game?
Yeah, we're getting there. Be patient, everybody. Good God.
Hello, and welcome to the CGP Companion Podcast Fancast about Chris Gethard Presents. I am Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, the keeper of the Canon and of the allergies, so I apologize if I'm a little sniffly this episode.
But this is not a sniffly episode.
No.
This is an episode about Greg Stone and Anthony DeVito.
Yes.
This week's hosts.
Yes.
I'm pretty excited for this one. It is episode 208, Iron Man 5, title of our movie, the movie that we the fans, submitted to the show, to them, to be created for us. Iron Man 5, which will be airing October 23rd, 2019, where Marvel did not listen to its fans, Greg Stone and Anthony DeVito do.
And the movie will feature a main character named Mike Fink, 2 werewolves, and a Pawn Stars t-shirt, as well as a line about "This is how Notre Dame fell."
That's the last line.
That's the last line. Those were the rules that we, the Geth Heads of Planet Scum, set out.
And again, I mean, within the fantasy comic book movie franchise industry, Star Wars included within that, there have been complaints among the fans that the studios do not listen to us, that they are not giving us what we are paying for in the theaters, buying their toys, all of these things. I say we give the next Marvel movie to Anthony DeVito and Greg Stone. What do you think?
I 100% agree. Feige, your days are numbered.
They're the new Russo brothers.
Oh, absolutely. They're the new visionaries behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They are indeed. So, I mean, let's jump right into it. We have for this one a number of favorite things about each of these individuals, and then our favorite things that they did together, because we got a pair of best friends here.
Oh yeah, definite biffles.
We have some friendship goals, biffles. These people, they met in high school. They started hanging out. They did comedy together. I don't know if they still live together.
I think they still do.
They live together. These men are roommates. There are extended tracks and conversations on the podcast that they have together about how, if, but for their heterosexuality, they would be an incredible comedy power couple.
Greg also talks about that in his album.
Yes, which is incredible. They released their albums in the same year.
That's true.
That means they were working on their albums together.
Yeah.
Damn, this is some goals right here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Some serious goals. So let's jump right in to our friends, Anthony and Greg. It was cool getting to research these guys for a couple of reasons. The main one being that almost everyone previous to these episodes has... these guys are club comics.
Yeah, it is interesting seeing 2 guys who now, at least, are definitely club comics and don't have, or aren't part of, the alt comedy sphere quite as much. Because, some of the other comics do perform in clubs, but they also have other alt works that they've done. Yeah,
we're able to find... shows that they put on that isn't strictly stand-up.
Yeah.
The Cartoon Monsoon is the
or
first
actors.
one that comes to mind. They do characters.
Yeah.
But there aren't extensive, videos of their characters. They're stand-ups.
Yeah, and I thought that's why
It's so cool.
I thought it was interesting that on the CGP podcast, the official one, they brought up that they had started out doing more alt stuff before they moved into club comedy.
And they're great improvisers
Absolutely.
as well. You can hear that on the Rad Dudecast, but I almost feel like these are 2 dudes who, are really good at the club comedy things, and also, they're flirting. They're flirting with the alt scene. They're not all up on UCB's business.
Though they were, because they were interns at UCB once upon a time. But I think their internet, some of their stuff they've made for the internet is where you can really see their alt comedy chops, because that's where they get to showcase that sensibility a little bit more. And their stand-up has like elements of it, like they do get absurd and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, it's interesting seeing them come to CGP.
I feel like Gethard is trying to reel them in. Because we've also seen fewer of, like, as of the last episode, we're like, oh my god, like, Mary Houlihan's the Keystone, like, all these people have worked together on all these things. These guys have less projects of that sort. Probably because they've been freaking traveling a bunch doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, a traveling stand-up has way less goddamn time.
That's true.
To make absurd videos in which you are a puppet. I'm speaking of Josh Sharp.
I did think it was interesting that they traveled in some of the same circles Geth traveled in high school, though. That was interesting from the official podcast.
Yeah, so everyone should listen to the official podcast.
Because it's just them and Geth this week, so they really get to dig into their shared history and New Jersey and all of that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so let's get into these friends of ours, our new buddies. We don't know them personally.
No. But the
parasocial relationship with all these people is strong.
Absolutely.
All right, so Anthony DeVito, the bio from his website. He is originally from New Jersey. Anthony DeVito is a New York City-based comedian. He's appeared on CBS, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Comedy Central Stand-Up Presents, Anthony DeVito, Comedy Central's Adam Devine's House Party, was one of the new faces at the 2012 Montreal Just for Laughs Festival, has been on This American Life, AXS TV's Gotham Comedy Live, and was the 2015 winner of the Caroline's March Madness.
Also, his debut album, Dream Occupation, is available from Comedy Central Records. In addition to stand-up, he was a writer on Netflix's The Break with Michelle Wolf, wrote for the 2018 White House Correspondents' Dinner, which Michelle Wolf was the host of and gave, and was a writer/regular panelist on MSG's Talkin' Sports and Other Stuff. He's also appeared on TV Land's The Jim Gaffigan Show and is a favorite on Sirius XM's Bennington.
An additional information is that apparently the band Train, Drops of Jupiter, the song, the anthem of my middle school self. Nary was there a girl I wanted to be more than this girl in Drops of Jupiter.
That's your favorite? Is that your go-to? That's your go-to Train song?
I mean, I don't really know any other
my go-to
songs.
is Save Me San Francisco.
Okay, well, apparently I need to listen to more Train. Things I didn't know.
It's also Hey Soul Sister.
That's Train?
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know. I listen to music. I don't pick apart music the way that I do comedy. But yeah, they did a podcast together, of which Anthony has an amazing story that is on his album as well as on clips online. We got some things that we love.
Yes.
That we love about him. And the first one is his set from This Week at the Comedy Cellar.
I thought that was a great set.
It was.
One of my favorite jokes was the one about he contrasts masturbation for him and masturbation for his girlfriend, and talks about how when she orgasms, it looks like she's conjuring it from another realm.
Yeah.
And he's wondering if she's going to tell the secrets that she's learned.
Yeah,
and I just love that.
That's very alt comedy.
Yeah, that image is so alt that I love it. I mean, it's just so it's so good. It's such a good, rich image that I love it.
Yeah. The next one is Comedians in Public. This is a really fun one.
Yeah.
This is like an internet only, like could only be on the internet sort of video rather than just amalgams of sets, which are really, really fun to watch. I don't know. I love stand-up. But things that are easier for the person who is not there to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, he walks into a Burlington coat factory and performs a bit about how he looks like his dad.
I love this video. And I mean, this also feels very alt comedy to me, but it feels like I don't know, like early internet alt comedy where
He's
it's
wearing
like,
a GoPro and he goes and
Yeah.
does stand up in a mirror. And like half the time he's like, what am I doing? Which is really great.
and he was on a podcast and the host referenced that and brought up that he's a total pro because he immediately sought out a mirror. Like apparently not every comedian takes that approach to it, but I loved that he did because some people just like find someone and talk to them. And so it's first person.
It reminds me of Leah Bonnema doing stand up for dogs.
Yeah. It definitely has that. I mean, I think for a while there was a thing of like alt comics going out and doing stand up in places you wouldn't normally do stand up,
Which is most places.
right? And so I think it's really interesting that he did this, and I love that video. It's a great bit. Definitely watch that. That link will also be in our show notes. The third thing we're going to talk about is a roast battle that Anthony was in with Megan Gailey. And Anthony does better than even Anthony thought he would, based on what he says in the video. My favorite part of this was watching him essentially kindness his way through the early part of it, because he's so hesitant to really start burning Megan. And
he just really didn't want to be there.
yeah, he didn't. He just talks about how much he likes her and how funny she is.
And how pretty she
Yeah.
is. And he's really surprised when the judges come in to like burn him. He's like, you can just do that? Like, I'm not. He's such a nice guy.
I loved the part when Megan pointed out that Anthony doesn't like doing it. He's like, no, I like you.
Like, I wanted to do this fun thing with you, friend. Quite fun. Quite adorable.
And I think it's interesting that I thought that the strength of that was really him just like breaking the format and being like, well, what happens if one of them is just like, you're a cool person. Why are we fighting?
You lose.
Yeah,
But he won one of the rounds.
He forced it to a final tiebreaker round, which he didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, that's because he had some good singers. He was just like really nice about delivering them.
Yeah, once he starts roasting, he has some really good lines in there.
Well, that's where I think that the roast battles, specifically among comedians, is a community building
Oh, yeah.
activity for everyone. Otherwise, like, why would he participate? It's because he loves those people.
No, yeah, it's definitely
And
a
he
friendly
wants to, yeah.
community building thing. I think that's a really good way of describing it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then Anthony just at the end,
Oh, yeah.
he's just like, she should win.
Yeah.
Like, she did really good. Like, I think she did better than me. Which is like, this is not in the spirit of the roast battle, but it is Anthony's spirit. And that's awesome.
He also at one point is like, I've been on TV, but you're going to be on TV on a better spot than I've been on TV. Very soon.
It's like, so you just like humble bragged her? Like,
Yeah. No, it really captures his spirit, like you said.
yeah. Number 4, Dream Occupation, Anthony's debut album,
Yeah.
released via Comedy Central Records, which is incredible.
Absolutely.
They
Yeah.
did some animated versions
Yeah.
of his jokes, which you can see on YouTube, and they're really fun. I love seeing jokes drawn.
Me too. I love when people animate stand-up. I mean, that's part of why I like Picture This so
Yeah.
much. 'Cause
Picture
it's
This
similar...
is a show that we saw in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Mostly, is it only in the Bay Area?
No.
Does this happen other
No,
places?
it's like in LA mostly, I think.
It's really cool. Like a bunch of artists, while stand-up is occurring, the artist has a tablet which is projected behind the comic.
Yeah.
So they are drawing in addition to the jokes, and like, of course, then the comic is interacting with the artist and the board behind them, and it's glorious.
I mean, one of the bits I love from this album is his whole story about getting into architecture to please his dying grandmother.
His aunt.
His aunt? Was it his aunt? I thought it was his grandmother.
Aunt. No, he had a dying aunt, and
Oh,
he
I'm
was
wrong.
raised by...
I apologize, Anthony.
He was raised by like 3 aunts, his mother and his grandmother. So a bunch of women. And one of the aunts was dying and asked, what will you do with your life to make your family proud? And he's like, architecture.
Yeah. Which he says is because he'd just seen 3 men and a baby.
But she lived. He lived, obviously, but so did she. And they're like, cool, so you're going to architecture school, right? And he's like, But there's a lot of really fun stories that he got out of that, so I suppose it's an overall win.
I mean, it's definitely like it's a really good joke, and he's done it a few places. But
yeah, there's a couple different versions of it as well, that are all really, really fun. And then we have this number 5, but I have a bonus number 6.
Oh wow, okay.
That I forgot to tell you about, Forrest. So let's do number 5 first, and then I'll come in with number 6.
Okay, so you want me to do number 5?
Yeah.
Number 5 is Anthony making his network TV debut on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
He did so good.
Yeah,
oh my God.
You know, so there's that look comedians get when they know that they're killing.
Yeah.
And he gets it multiple times throughout this. And there's times where he gets like cheer and laughter, and he's like taken aback by how intensely they're enjoying his set. Mm-hmm. And that's like my favorite thing to see in any stand-up performance because it's so gratifying.
I think that he has that habitually. Like the minute you said that, I'm like, yeah, no, I've noticed that watching his clips before. And then I'm like thinking about his Train story, how he was, the lead singer of Train was just like, this is the best comedian I've ever seen. Like, oh my God, like treating him like he's a big shot and like he's so good. And he's like, I bomb a bunch. I think he's better than he thinks he is. I think that he does not, I think that he chronically does not have an accurate idea in his head of what a good comedian he is.
Maybe. I mean,
he's great.
He's great. Yeah.
We've seen a lot of freaking comedy.
Yeah, he's really good. No, yeah, he's great. So, I mean, I could see that because he's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're one of my favorite jokes. Is
really, really, really good images.
His
in
joke
this
about
one. I want to draw half
right?
of the things from this.
I was thinking that too. His joke about his body hair in this set is amazing. It has the line, which I'm not going to really dig into too much, but I don't know at what point you're legally a cat. Which is just such a well-constructed sentence, but also, like, in the context is great.
He says it even better than the sentence that you wrote down.
No, he does. But I'm basically I was paraphrasing. But
yeah. He also talks about how his girlfriend is 8 years younger than him.
Oh, yeah.
And they started dating when she was 22. I heard them both on a podcast.
Really?
It was Happily Never After.
Okay.
I believe. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, it's Happy Never After. They had extended jokes in it about how it should have been Happily Never After. But yeah, and it's him and his girlfriend, and they are so sweet together. And you might think like, wow, like a 30-year-old dating a 22-year-old, like, I don't know, that seems kind of predatory. And then you hear them both talking and you're like, oh no, he's not the dominant person in that relationship. If there is one, it's not him.
So we'll include the link to that in the show notes.
Not in a bad way. In a she's so funny.
Right.
I think she's a stand-up. Is she? I have no idea.
I don't know. I didn't hear that episode.
She's funny. Okay, so here's my... No. I have another bonus one. I see you typing in the notes that Happily Never After is my bonus.
Wait, that's not your bonus?
I have another bonus. Anthony was asked by a friend of his, Jean Meyer, I think.
She is a comedian, I think.
She's freaking hilarious. So he has good taste in comedians he wants to date. But his friend who works at Decibel Magazine asked him to review various metal songs.
Oh, yeah.
And so basically what he did is he just wrote the most provocative one-liners about metal songs, and I love metal. I love me some metal. So I think that here's a couple of my favorites. So Yurakai by the El Monte de las Animas. Anthony says, "This is what gargoyles listen to before going out drinking. The song is fast and relentless. I've never done meth, but after hearing it, maybe I have." It's just, and then I had to listen to the song. That's the thing. A lot of these lines, I was just going to read through it and I'm like, oh, cool. It's just like one-liners. No, I had to listen to the songs.
Of course. Yeah. No, to really get the joke, it's better if you read it, if you actually hear it. Yeah.
Here we have Pig Funeral from Fistula. Anthony, love the bass, love the title Pig Funeral. I could see this song being played at the wedding of an ECW wrestler whose name is also Pig Funeral. It's an awesome song. They probably intended it for something hard, but I'll be listening to it so I can run faster on an elliptical.
So do you know what ECW is?
No, I don't.
It was Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was the wrestling promo in the 90s that was all about being as violent as possible. So they would like wrap chains,
Oh
like
my God.
spiked chains on things and hit people with it and all that. And so that joke's really funny.
Oh my gosh. Then we have Coal Chamber as Big Truck. Anthony, another great one. Started off quiet, then it really kicked in. It'd be hard to hear this song and then not believe in Satan. And not to believe that he's the one true God. For he is Lucifer, our savior, all hail. And I'm like, he was converted to Satanism. I think someone should call his 3 ants. I think, but of those, honestly, my favorite one is like, I've never done meth, but after hearing it, maybe I have.
No, that is a good one.
And I listened to it, and I've never done meth, but maybe I have now too. So just so that you all know that he's very accurate in these things. Okay. So Greg Stone.
Well, it's often said, this is his bio from his website. Well, it's often said that the tragedy plus time. No, wait.
We're missing a word, I think, in the copy paste.
We are.
Let's see if there's missing a word on his website.
We are missing a word in the
We're
copy
now
paste.
the QA portion of our show where we QA
There is.
comedian
There
websites.
is. No, that's my bad.
Oh,
it's on the
okay.
website. I must have accidentally deleted it while making everything.
Okay.
So that's on me. While it's often said that tragedy plus time equals comedy, it could just as easily be said that enthusiasm minus caution equals comedian Greg Stone.
But like in a wholesome way.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing I love
Yeah.
so much about him.
Regarded by his peers as one of the funniest storytellers in New York, Greg is a fixture at many of Manhattan's top comedy clubs and independent shows, where he shares true stories of the highs and lows caused by his lack of inhibition. Greg has recently performed on NBC's America's Got Talent, True TV's Friends of the People, and Access TV's Gotham Comedy Live.
Gotham Comedy Live is some sick shit. Sometimes I'll just leave that playlist on.
Yeah, no,
on
it's
YouTube.
It's a great way to see some of the best club comedians in the country.
Yeah.
Bowing to the increased demand that he be heard and not seen, Greg has also been featured on Sirius XM Radio's The Bennington Show, hit podcasts like Tuesdays with Stories, and not a hit but still hilarious podcasts like The Rad Dude Cast, which Greg co-hosts with Anthony DeVito and Brandon Ayer. Not bad for a guy who spends a good portion of his spare time posing action figures in his bedroom. Ask him politely, and he'll tell you about the time he drunkenly jumped on stage with Michael Bolton.
Did we hear that story in one of the myriad podcasts?
No.
We listened? Oh, I want to know.
I didn't hear it, at least. He made a joke about it on one where it's like, if you ask him, he won't tell it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just go, or you just like reference Michael Bolton, he'll be like, hey, you know.
So I need to figure out a way to reference him in a call that I make to the show.
Absolutely. Though they'll be in character. So I don't know if in Iron Man 5 they'll derail everything to talk about Michael Bolton.
That's true. So something I want to say about Greg Stone. So this happened to probably all of us when we were personally betrayed by Penis CK.
Oh, yeah.
How he had this like dude bro delivery, but what he was doing was picking apart what we thought was picking apart a lot of the like sexist assumptions.
Yeah.
And other, societal assumptions that we had. I really felt like what he was doing was he was picking apart like the assumptions people make in society in a really funny way, in a way that just shows off how stupid a lot of the thinking is.
Yeah.
But in a way that defangs that insult even.
What do you mean by defangs?
Like it's so funny. It'll make you laugh even if that's something you believe, and then you can pretend that you never believed it at all.
I see.
I don't know, something like that.
No, that makes sense.
Greg Stone, this like hit me like the second time listening to his album. Like he's just he's a not shitty Louis C.K.
Yeah, there's definitely similarities in terms of like the structure
Subject
and
matter,
delivery and subject
storytelling
matter.
comedy, storytelling comedy, which apparently Penis C.K. doesn't even fucking do anymore because he has no integrity, even though that was the strength, because we all learned that he's actually the shitty guy that he was making jokes about. I'm so sorry. I just went on this polemic.
Greg is a good guy, though.
Greg is a good guy, and I feel like I'm going to officially just replace Penis CK with Greg Stone.
Okay.
Penis with Greg Stone. I vote Greg Stone in the replacement. I honestly, we all felt so betrayed, but some of us felt more betrayed than others because we loved Louis more. And so I strongly encourage anyone who really loved Louis, like, check this motherfucker out.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Because he's doing the same things, but he is an actually good person.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that fans of Penis CK will like Greg Stone's comedy because, as you were saying, like the delivery and the subject matter and the structure of the jokes is similar, not similar in the best way. Like it's
not a copy.
Not at all. Not at all. It's also very particular to Greg. Like he weaves all his myriad interests in super well.
Oh my God.
Like he does superheroes and sports and everything weaved in a way that even if you don't know about those things, the jokes are so sound that you'll still appreciate it even if you don't necessarily like.
Can you tell from our description that he's been doing comedy for fucknuts ever? Like he started doing comedy I think in high school, right after high school.
It sounded
I know
like
he started before Anthony.
Yeah.
But they were friends.
Yeah.
He was so good at comedy that, and you can hear this on myriad podcasts, he tells the story of when he worked in an ER for like 5 years. They were going to fire him because he wasn't like great at the job that they had given him, which was like communicating information between doctors. Yeah. Which is
that's a hard job.
I also have ADHD. I could not do that job.
I would be terrible at that job.
No. But he was so good with the patients that they kept him on in exclusively like client satisfaction, like patient satisfaction.
That makes sense.
He was the guy who would go into the room with the sick people and be like, so this is what we're doing. Like, this is why it's taking so long. Like, this is what your deal is. Like, and they're just like, talk to them, be funny, make them happy.
That's great.
And everyone loved him. And they're all like leaving these rave reviews about this like awesome ER nurse.
Yeah, if I was in a hospital, I would love if Greg Stone came in and was like and chatting with me and telling jokes. That would be I would lift my spirits so high.
Right?
So high.
Like, I'm good now. I can just leave. The best medicine, laughter, has been administered. Okay, so now that we've ranted.
But like a positive rant.
A positive rant, except for where I went off about Penis CK.
Right.
My personal betrayer. But I've replaced him my heart with Greg Stone. Okay, so.
So one of his jokes that I really loved, which is our first thing, is he has a joke about how he doesn't get transphobia. Mm-hmm.
Because trans women are women who are men. All men are.
Yeah, he's a man who was once a boy, and hooking up with him doesn't make you a pedophile.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you should see this joke. I think some of these are just like individual jokes. I don't want to step on them. I think that y'all should see them.
No.
But the thing that you should do is listen to them all in the album.
Yeah.
That was what was so cool about Greg Stone, because I watched a bunch of the just available videos on YouTube. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I like these jokes. These are great. And then I heard the album and I was like, oh, like, this is all storytelling comedy.
Yeah. And that's
storytelling jokes have a different flavor than one-liners.
And that's the only video of that we're going to talk about that's only a specific joke. It's just so short and snappy that I wanted to use it more as like a promo of his album.
Yeah.
Because if you like that joke, you will love his album. because
Oh my
that's
God.
like that. It's a really good encapsulation of his style of comedy.
Yeah.
And so that you're right. We shouldn't have given that away. Probably. Sorry.
I'm just sort of
Sorry,
scarred because
Greg.
we were like, oh, like we need to really promo people's jokes so that they like go, so that, you know, fans will go
Yeah.
see them. Like, you know, we're not just going down a list being like, oh, I guess see this. Like, but then I feel like we told like too many of the jokes that like Leah Bonnema had. And I was like, oh no, like we stepped on her monologue, which I don't know that we did. She was very nice to us.
Also, Iron Man 5 is going to be very different.
But you really should see
But you
all
should
of these
also
things.
his delivery of it is what we are not doing justice to.
He
so
has
you,
like this thing that happens to his voice when he knows he's gonna kill,
yeah,
and when you can tell like the parts of his jokes that like he really enjoys, but
Yeah.
he's not doing that annoying thing where like the comedian has to stop to laugh at their own joke. Like it's just this like quality that happens to his voice where you can tell that he's just
Yeah.
smiling so hard.
yeah.
It's very funny.
The second thing we're going to talk about is about when he took jujitsu.
Yes, Jujitsu Story, which is both on the album and you can see variations of online. And yeah, it's about how he was hoping he wouldn't be the worst person who ever did jujitsu. But I'll just call it karate. Like he says, people who do jujitsu really don't like that, but they're not here. So it's fucking something like karate.
And this is one of the standalones that I think you should definitely check out because it really again encapsulates his storytelling in his comedy. Like that's why I wanted to pair these two as the first two because one is a great job of showing just how funny his one-liners are, and this shows just how good he is at his stories and stringing some of those together into a coherent story. And it isn't just set up for joke like it is, but there's like his ability to weave narratives in is so good.
And that's what I loved about Louis.
Yeah.
This is going to be a hard half of the episode for me because I keep just wanting to like shit on Louis.
You mean penis.
Penis. I'm sorry. On penis. I shouldn't be sorry. He's the one who should be sorry. I don't have anything to be sorry for. Penis should be sorry for being a bad comedian and not giving all of his sets to Greg Stone.
Sure. Yeah, no, Greg Stone
He has a fucking hour.
is great. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He probably has more than an hour.
He does. There's jokes that aren't on his album
Yeah.
that I encountered.
He absolutely has an hour, and he's experienced enough to put them all together. So our third thing that we love about him is how much he loves action figures. And he reviews Iron Man action figures in a particular YouTube video. He makes custom action figures. That's another thing about him.
I haven't been able to find any photos or anything of his custom action figures, but he does make them, and they're apparently great.
Yeah. And it's a thing that he loves. So you can see him reviewing an Iron Man action figure after buying a bunch of toys with a media discount.
And definitely pay attention to the lower thirds in that video, because some of the best jokes are hidden down there.
Yeah, because it's just that he definitely planned on doing the review.
Yes.
Which is required to get the media discount. Definitely, absolutely planned on it.
Yeah.
Didn't just plan on doing the media discount and getting a bunch of cool action figures.
Absolutely not.
Not at all. Not at all.
Another action figure review that he did is called Action Figure Reviews Episode 1, which I don't want to get too into but it has a great meta narrative about the host's relationship with his wife that pops up through the course of the review. And definitely check it out because it's really funny.
He has the action figures interacting.
Yeah, to like
with each other.
Yeah.
In this one, and
you learn
it's great.
More about the host's
It's fun.
life.
Fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 trilogy.
I love these 3 videos. These are all very funny videos that I think they were just captured on his PlayStation. You don't see him, you don't hear him, but
the perfect memes.
Yeah, he uses Red Dead Redemption to make some hilarious videos.
And they are, as you wrote down, they're some of the first video game videos that I have enjoyed.
Yeah, when we watched them, you were just like, you just exclaimed that.
Yeah, it's true. I I've dated a lot of fucking nerds in my life. I've seen a lot of video game playthroughs. I've seen a lot of video games being played. I have not ever laughed this hard.
And I think what's great about these is it's him using the game to do his own creative thing. It isn't just him playing through the game.
So it's mostly people falling down.
Oh yeah, it's all slapstick physical comedy, but he does such a good job with it.
And it's just timing is great. The way he edited them, you know that he has good timing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm just thinking about them. We immediately sent them to all of our friends.
Oh yeah, no, all of our friends who have played those games, I immediately sent them out to.
It's doing the things that would like break the game. That like you're not supposed to do that thing.
Yeah.
Like, could you?
Yeah. No, they're wonderful.
Yep.
And our final individual Greg Stone bit or thing is his album, The Amazing Greg Stone, which has some great Spider-Man-ish cover art that really sets the stage for him. Like that was when I was like, oh, he likes superheroes.
He likes Spider-Man.
He likes Spider-Man.
My
and then I learned,
man.
oh, he is my favorite Dash Man. And then I learned about everything in terms of the action figures and the Iron Man videos. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is really funny. A lot of the bits we've mentioned as individual jokes are also on his album.
And it's great all together.
I think it's stronger altogether because you get to see his transitions, which are expert.
Yeah. It's because I feel like when he's writing whole stories.
Yeah.
Not set him up, punch him down.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it comes out best in that way. Yeah. Really, really good album.
It's a really fun album. There's a great joke about his grandfather, assuming he's gay because he wore a pink shirt.
His stepfather.
I thought that was I'm thinking everyone's a grandparent.
Yeah.
They're both stepfather?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that
just has he tells jokes about his stepfather. So something
I was driving while we were listening
That's
to this.
true.
I apologize again to Greg as well for the inaccuracy.
During this album recording, someone started heckling him so bad during one of the jokes that he actually had to throw out the entire row.
Yeah.
Just like truly senseless, drunk awfulness. And so of course he cut that out.
Right.
But it's a really great story, and he tells it, I think, on the Chris Gethard.
Yeah, it's the CGP podcast.
On the CGP one. It's great.
But the fact that even though that happened, the album is still great.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
He gets his stride back in like a fucking second, you know?
Like, it's really impressive and shows just how talented he is as a comedian, because that's hard.
Yeah. Fuck, right?
I've been to a lot of comedy shows and seen a lot of comedy. I have never seen an entire row have to get kicked out.
Fucking right?
Like, I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. And yet Greg just he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And then
fuck those people.
Got the stage presence back and resulted in a great album.
Yeah. So now we have some of our favorite things that these two best friends have done together.
Yes.
Number one, of course, the Rad Dude Cast. It's the improv based, I suppose, podcast that Greg co-hosts with Anthony DeVito and
Brendan Ayer.
It's based on the principle that you just never say no.
Yeah, I liked that.
You just must always yes and. I listened to the latest one today, and they played a game called Back Off or Whack Off, where Greg presented them with different situations, and you would say if you would whack off or back off. And in order to buzz in, you had to say buzz and then make a rhyme about an organ.
Oh, I like
that you have. So, for example, our cat. Back off or whack off.
Buzz. I feel in my heart I have to fart.
Yeah, that's almost literally what he used as the example.
Wait, really?
Rhyme, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
that
No,
one.
he was like, because they were like, what do you mean by rhyme? And I think he used that. Oh my God. Oh Oh my god. Okay, but yeah. So back off or whack off. Our ginger cat.
Back off.
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you aren't sexually attracted to our cat.
No. No.
Does this not remind you of Catch or Snatch?
A little bit.
It's the same principle as Catch or Snatch.
Well, I mean, sort of. I don't think it's the same principle. The principle is it sex or not sex? But that's not like...
Yeah, I suppose.
But the game functions entirely differently. It's not determining which it is in the image. It's a what would you do?
That's true.
Situational type of thing.
It's an inverse. I don't know.
No, I don't even think it's an inverse. I think that's just that they are like sexual or not sexual. That's the only commonality and the pun in the name.
Well, I like those kinds of games.
I like them both. I think they're both great games.
Pun in the names, sexual or not sexual. That's the kind of game I like.
Our second thing that they've done together is one of my favorite things they've done, which is the characters of Uncle Gus and Suntoon. And on the CGP podcast, they talked about how they went to karaoke bars around New Jersey and performed songs as Gus Dakota, who is Greg, and Suntoon, who is Anthony. And Gus Dakota has an elaborate backstory about being a Vietnam vet and Suntoon saving his life in Vietnam. And every time, so they'd put their name in as Uncle Gus. When the karaoke jockey introduces Gus, Suntoon would run up and then reintroduce Gus. And then Gus would come up and do a Neil Diamond cover. And then as Gus left, Suntoon would throw a cape over his shoulders. And I love karaoke, but the idea of bringing in comedic character work into karaoke is just my favorite thing ever.
It's just like spontaneous improv in your night.
And they talked about how it was like when they weren't doing comedy and they like needed to get it out of their system, so they just like did comedy at karaoke bars. And I really wish more people did that. I would love if more people did characters at karaoke bars.
Just like firebombing comedy.
Well, and then the fact that Greg even waited tables at a TGI Fridays as Gus Dakota, and the manager changed Greg's name in the system to Gus Dakota. And he went in full costume with like a fake mustache and everything. I just love it. And you can I would definitely suggest listening to the CGP podcast to hear them talk about Gus Dakota and Suntoon. But you can also see a video on YouTube of Gus and Suntoon singing Baby It's Cold Outside, which I didn't know there was any video footage of these characters. And so I was like, remember when I found that video, I was psyched.
Oh my God. It's amazing. And they have it's like little situations as well as like Christmassy things. Cause they're, it's Baby It's Cold Outside. So there's a part where like Greg wakes up and he like pulls off the covers as Gus Dakota and he's just holding a switchblade.
That's also
like an open switchblade on his chest. So he's ready at any moment.
That's also what I was going to mention because that bit is so good.
It's so good.
I love their character work. Like honestly, Uncle Gus and Suntoon are one of the things that have me most excited for Iron Man 5.
Yeah.
Because they commit to those characters so hard.
And it's something that we wouldn't, if they hadn't, made that video and put some of these ones up, we wouldn't have gotten to see it because most of their clips are their stand-up, which is different. Yeah. But they can do so much more.
Yeah, because their stand-up is them, like their personas are heightened versions of themselves. It's not like...
As with most.
It's not like Emo Phillips, where it's like Emo Phillips is clearly a character.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think that Gethard is he's throwing out his fishing pole into the New York comedy scene pond, and he's trying to just catch those stand-ups whose heart are also in alt and drag them in.
No, I think it's true.
Give them an extra little spot.
I think that's true. On the CGP podcast, he talked about how he's sad that the alt scene and the club scene have diverged again in New York, whereas they used to be closer together. And I think he's trying to help bridge that by bringing these comedians who are seen as club comics, but really can do both and have feet in both comedy worlds.
And giving them encouragement and
Yeah.
space. There needs to be an ecosystem around art for it to happen.
Yeah.
And part of that ecosystem is an audience.
Yeah.
And is the space and time to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what Geth is providing.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the point of CGP is to provide space for the kind of comedy you usually can only see in clubs and
To allow them to do something, to do a real cool experiment. And
Yeah.
who knows what the fuck that's going to turn into.
right?
Maybe something like Schindler's List 2, Electric Boogaloo, now with RoboCop.
This also made me very excited for Iron Man 5, especially the like costuming and the special like level of effects and stuff.
It's beautiful. There's cardboard. There's tinfoil. There's it's all in one garage.
Yes.
Anthony plays Oscar Schindler, who is being interrogated by Hitler, who is Eric Bergstrom, when RoboCop, Greg, busts in to save him. And he like appears Terminator style, so he's just like butt naked.
No.
Like
That's the end.
that's the end?
That's when it's revealed that the Terminator, the Nazis have recruited the Terminator to fight against RoboCop.
Oh, I thought that it was the same person
No,
because he was
they're both
okay.
Greg, but Greg kicks in the door as RoboCop to save Schindler from Hitler.
Oh, what's that?
The sweeting thing?
Yeah.
So the effects remind me a lot of sweeting, which was a thing that sort of spun off of the movie Be Kind Rewind with Mos Def, where video store employees, all the videos got erased in their video store. So they had to film their versions of all of the movies so that people could still rent Star Wars.
Mhm.
It's Star Wars made by two video clerks using like cardboard armor and tinfoil. And it was like, they briefly got a thing going on YouTube where people would then take their favorite movie and do a like low budget, intentionally cheesy adaptation of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this just reminded me of it in terms of how they lean into like, this is a goofy thing with tinfoil and cardboard. Like that's about as far as the reminiscence goes.
And also just like a funny concept.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this concept. Like I love this video so much. I love how melodramatic it is with this like inherently goofy material while heightening the goofiness by being like, yeah, we just made it out of cardboard that is not disguised at all and tinfoil, which is not disguised at all.
Oh, and their badges are swastikas with crosses through them.
Oh yeah. The
Like
ones who
no
don't like Nazis have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, there's a line through it. That means we don't like it.
Yeah, like the Ghostbusters logo, but with a swastika instead of a ghost.
Yeah. Because when you say swastika with a cross through it, I realize that it
Yeah.
kind of sounds like it's a swastika with a Christian cross. So that it's like they're saying, like, I both like Nazis and Christianity. But no, it's the opposite of that.
Well, it's good to point out that they're taking that Schindler is taking a Nazis are bad stance and is not weighing in on Christianity at all.
Yeah, Christianity is not touched in this.
Does not
video.
factor into this YouTube parody of Schindler's, not parody, but joke using Schindler's List. And then our final one that they did together is Tub Talk,
Oh my God.
which is wonderful. It's Anthony and Greg talking in a bathtub while text sort of appears on screen, like highlighting some of the things they're saying
And also adding jokes
and
to
adding
it.
jokes. Yeah.
It's super old internet.
Yeah.
It's old internet jokes too. It's like you
Yeah.
heard a thing and then you read a thing that changes it
Yeah.
comedically.
Yeah.
And you just burst out laughing because your brain doesn't know what to do with both of those things.
It reminded me a lot of some of Keith's videos too, in terms of how he uses like cuts and words on screen and stuff to recontextualize filmed bits. And I think they share that early internet DNA, which I love.
Yeah.
As someone who is old enough to have been around for all of that.
It was more non sequitur.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's the combination of the tools of the internet. You get the different fonts and you get the words go in Star Wars style and then the ones that just appear and then the ones that like roll across the bottom of the screen like a ticker and like, yeah.
Yeah, they used like essentially every preset in whatever editing software they were using.
Which it in itself is a really funny thing.
I agree.
What's funny about it? Why is it funny, Forrest?
I think it's the because there was one of the theories you mentioned on an earlier episode was about the not discrepancy, but the
incongruity.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's the incongruity thing because
it's when you're putting two things next to each other that don't appear like they should have a connection, but by putting them together, you see, oh, these things have a deeper connection.
Yeah.
So, for example, a transgender woman is a woman who was once identified as a man. A man is just a human who was once a boy.
right.
Like, it's those two things. You don't think about a gender transition, quote unquote, in the same thought as a growth transition. But then you're like, oh my God, no, those are like the same fucking thing. And it's funny.
Yeah. And it's funny and sheds light on just how bad the argument is.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I already knew the argument was bad, but hearing his joke is just like,
Ooh.
that is such a good dissection of how lame transphobic arguments are.
I'm going to pack that little one away. He has a great moment in one of his jokes where, like, he's getting... You should listen to his fucking album.
Yeah,
he
definitely
gets a
listen to his album.
chance to be progressive
yeah.
in a trans situation. And he's just like, yes, like, this is what we've been training for. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to put that away. That's part of my training so that when I have to break out my training, I'm in San Francisco.
Well, but also, like, I think that...
No one gives a fuck.
I think that... But now, whenever I hear people make the, like,
I say that sad as if, like, I'm sad that I don't have to, like, fight transphobes. Like, no, I'm very happy that that doesn't happen in my fucking city.
It's great that... Yeah. But I think that, like, whenever I hear people make that stupid regressive argument that, like, I'd be gay, I'm not gonna do that, which is, like, lame on so many levels, I will hear his joke.
I know, right?
Like, his joke is in my brain forever now. And that's the power of comedy.
Yes, the power of comedy. That's why comedy was outlawed by the fucking church during the Middle Ages. Because they're like, we can't have motherfuckers making fun of transubstantiation. We can't have it done. We need to enslave people.
But I think to go back to the Tub Talk,
Which was a literal thing that happened then.
But I think the incongruity is the video is just super, like, not edited. It's just, here's them in a bathtub talking. And so having Star Wars text appear out of nowhere, it's like, why is this shouldn't be happening right now.
Yeah.
And yet it is. And now it's in relation to them just sitting in this bathtub. And what's funny about it is that, like, this shouldn't be happening.
Like
it's like the randomness. There should be no text. It should just be them in the bathtub.
Or, like, all of the text should be the same.
Right, that too, yeah.
And, like, why did someone choose blue now? And then you're imagining someone sitting there being like, oh, yeah. Like, I'm going to choose blue. Like, this is badass.
Yeah.
But, like, you know that they are making the situation where, so that you imagine the person editing it thinking, oh, this is badass. And they're just sitting there like, hey, this is funny.
And I think the reason it feels so early internet is because random humor was such a, like, and non sequiturs and were such a key part of that early humor. And this, which is, I think, often because of that incongruity stuff, was the appeal of that. And so it's touching on a similar sort of source of the laughter as that early stuff. And that this format, like the playing with text and playing with the form itself, was such a huge part of it early on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool. I, for one, am exceedingly excited.
Me too.
About Iron Man 5. We've made a poster.
Yes, and it's on our...
Forrest has made a poster.
Yeah, I made the poster. It's on our Instagram. You should check it out.
You should make a poster.
Oh, absolutely. You should contribute and make a poster for Iron Man 5.
You should also print that poster out and just put it around your city.
Oh, yeah. Promote CGP and Iron Man 5.
Yeah, and you can write Rad Dudecast on it, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And put it on things. Get a sheet of blank stickers and draw Rad Dudecast on them and just put them up on poles in your city. Put them on stop signs. Cover a stop sign completely with Rad Dudecast stickers so that people stop stopping. And then a car accident happens.
Don't do that.
And then once everyone's stuck there, you skateboard past them with a big sign.
Here's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Got a local bookstore? Do they have a community bulletin board? Go, hey, can I put up my flyer? Put it on telephone poles. Put it on places that you are legally allowed to put them. That's the official stance of this podcast. Much like the Chris Gethard show did not encourage you to spray paint their logo on things.
Just do it.
No, we are like the Chris Gethard show. We do not want that.
Just do it.
No, we don't want it. Just like the Chris Gethard show didn't want it.
Do it.
What do you, hey.
You know what else you should do is tune in this week to CGP and fucking watch Anthony DeVito and Greg Stone.
Yeah, you know what I expect?
Look at their videos. Listen to their album.
I expect that, what I expect from this episode is to see a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, werewolf.
Who works for Pawn Stars?
Who works for Pawn Stars or loves. No, he's just a fan of Pawn Stars. He works for Werewolf Industries, but he's just a big fan of Pawn Stars. He likes all the History Channel programming, and I want to see him fight another werewolf. I expect to see him fight another werewolf who has a very similar power set, but is a bad guy, so that we can see two people who are equally powered with either complementary or identical power sets face off in a battle for the fate of Earth. Which was why Greg in the Discord said the official snack of this episode could be candies that look like planet Earth.
I expect penis.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Yeah, it's what I expect.
Yeah.
And this is one time where if either of them listen this far in the podcast, I will not be embarrassed whatsoever that they hear about my prediction.
Yeah.
Based on their comedy. No, I just
No,
expect
they'll appreciate it.
Penis. It'll probably be because see, they have to put in the things, right?
Yeah, so it might be Mike Fink's werewolf penis.
It's going to be Mike Fink's werewolf penis. The penis itself is the werewolf. The human body that has that penis is not a werewolf.
But
only the penis is the werewolf.
What if it's a non sequitur at the end of the movie and a giant penis just crashes into Notre Dame?
And that's how Notre Dame went down?
Yeah. It's the threat for Iron Man 6. It's the post-credits teaser for Iron Man 6 as a penis just knocks down Notre Dame.
Like in Watchmen when the alien just destroyed all of New York.
Mike Fink brings the world together by having a penis attack Notre Dame. Classic Fink move.
Tune in. Watch it. Iron Man 5.
Go to chrisgeth.com/live or MNN.
Watch it. Do it.
You probably know that if you're listening to this podcast.
All those things. Do them.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Your memory is your dream TiVo, bro.